Yo, what's going on, guys? Konnichiwa, minasan. Welcome to another episode of my Kana Smasher Devlog series. I appreciate all you beautiful people being here. So today's episode, I've worked on some pretty big things. So one of the biggest ones was the familiarity system. So the word familiarity is basically a system that describes a player's ability to recall words and their constituent kanas. So essentially, it's going to keep track of how well you know words. And this is kind of a common thing that a lot of flashcards, or if you ever used Anki or another SRS system, will use. So this is going to be kind of the base of the system that will eventually be implemented. So essentially, anytime you're going to be interacting with words, you're going to be either gaining or losing what I'm considering to be familiarity points. So this could be things like answering a complete question where this is going to give you the most familiarity points. This could be picking a guess tile from the bottom, or matching the kana with their either correct or incorrect guess tiles. And this kind of comes into play with actually losing familiarity points. If you pick a guess tile that doesn't have any kana in common with the question element, then you will be losing familiarity with that particular word. And this kind of makes sense, right? If you are kind of answering a question, you think that one of the guess tiles contains a kana that you need, and that doesn't actually, then that shows that you don't actually know the kana. So another new feature that's coming this devlog is going to be the high score system, and I'm actually pretty excited about this one because this one is going to actually be persistent data. So with the high score system, within every round, so say you picked JLPT N5, every time you completely go through the round, you'll get a score as you're used to from the previous devlog, but this time it'll push that score to Unity Cloud Save. And there it'll do a comparison on the score. If you've got a higher score, then it will register that score as the new high score. And if you don't, then it'll just show what your previous high score was. So the nice thing about this is I was actually able to build upon this system for the familiarity system as well. So the familiarity system will also push to Unity Cloud, and this is going to be unique to every player. So as long as you're accessing from the same browser that you've been playing from, you should be able to access your save data, and it will actually remember which words that you remember. No pun intended. So one of the first things I decided to do when I was building out this system is just to kind of think about how it would lay out. So right now, when you get to the end screen, it's just very simple. You know, you finished, you have kind of your end screen score. So I decided to kind of lay out the panes of how I thought it would display, particularly the word familiarity, right? Because as a user, I'm going to want to know a couple different things. I'm going to want to know what words I interacted with during the level. It would be nice to know what their kana are as well, right? If I interact with a word and I don't know it, it would be nice if the end screen shows me what those kanas are so that I can kind of familiarize myself. So next time, hopefully I will notice it. And then finally, I would definitely want to know what my progress is. Now, the progress is definitely placeholder for right now. I'm kind of assigning arbitrary score values depending on the actions that you're completing, but these will definitely be tweaked long term. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how the system came out for at least gaining it. I think it's a system that I can definitely expand on, and then if we need to tweak how many points you gain going forward, I think that's something that we can definitely do with this system. So once I had the UI to a point that I was happy with, it was time to kind of go into the back end and decide how this system was going to work. And what I landed on was creating kind of a word manager. So this word manager would sit in the scene while you're playing the game, and it would just watch and wait for you to interact with some of the words. So if you, for example, break a guess tile, it would then take the word from that guess tile, do a comparison on the question element, and then distribute points accordingly. So there's a few places in the code that, as I mentioned, where this happens. If you're actually breaking a guess tile, if you're answering a Kana from a question element, or if you complete a question, you'll be gaining familiarity points. So essentially, the word manager's job is at the end of the round, it will take a dictionary of all of the words you've interacted with and the net word familiarity that you've either gained or lost from that round, and then send it off to be processed. So once it's kind of sent off, it's sent to what I call it the start manager, but it's really just a class that persists every scene. I should really rename that to something more appropriate. But essentially what it does is it pulls that word familiarity dictionary, and then it goes through each one of those words. So you have a dictionary here of words and your word familiarity. It goes in and it checks what the word familiarity already is, if there is any in the Unity Cloud save. And then if you've gained any additional points, then it'll add those. And if you've lost any additional points, then it will subtract those. And then here, all it does is save your new score to the familiarity system, so that it can be shown on the update panel. So those were kind of the two hard pieces out of the way, which was designing the actual backend itself, and then thinking about how that was going to display on the front end. So now came the piece of just hooking the two up. For this, I ended up using the Unity scroll rect as well as the panels. I really liked this because I was able to fit most of the what I'm kind of calling kanji panes. I was able to fit quite a few of them on the panel, and this was nice for rounds where you're going to be interacting with a lot of words. So what I really wanted to, my big goal here was to display as many words, or all of the words, to the user that they had interacted with on the level. So after everything was hooked up, this was the final result that I landed on. I'm really happy with how this came out. I know the art is absolutely horrible. I'm definitely one of those programmers that put all of their skill points into programming. So please forgive my horrible art, but if you guys do want to check out this game, it will be on my itch page, which will be linked down in the description below. That would mean the absolute world if you would just go, just give me some feedback, anything in the comments here or in the comments over there on what I could do to improve this. Do you guys like it? Do you guys not like it? Because that'll definitely motivate me to want to keep working on the game. And I don't want to give too much away, but I do have something in the works to rework the art. So hopefully next update, you won't have to deal with my god-awful art skills. But again, if you guys would go to my itch page and please check out the game, give it some feedback, that would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Peace.